Well, good evening, everybody. How's things? It's a little bit different doing something on a Sunday, but do you know what? I thought we'd have a spare hour, maybe, and just see how things are going. I know we've recently introduced Parchment into the Sanntangle sort of world, and I know some of you are absolutely loving it, so thank you so much for supporting our new ideas. And of course, it's just lovely to have you on board, and some of the things you're doing are absolutely wonderful. So I'm not saying that I'm an expert in this, in no way am I saying that, but I just thought it was nice that you could see how I use them, and maybe if you need to ask a few questions, you can ask away. So yeah, if you are a parcher, I do apologise in advance. I don't tend to follow the rules. I do what I think I want to do, really. So yeah, you might see some things on here that are not necessarily what you would do, but it's just how I use it. So hopefully you can sort of see, yeah, what's going to happen. So okay, what have we got so far? We introduced, on the takeover day in July, this particular one, and we got 2 plates in this. We'll explain plates in a short while, but if you've never seen them, they're like this. They're acrylic, and they're completely flat on one side. You see you've got this etching on the other side, so you can actually, you've got like a little line in here that you can sort of work your way around that. So you got the 2 plates, you got the frame. I'll just put something under there. You got the frame. That looks better, doesn't it? There we are. And then you also got the butterfly wings, the 2 bodies, and you got this little flower. And of course in here, my very good friend Ruth, who is really, really good at Parchment, doing all this. This is Ruth Fletcher. She gave you a little bit of an insight into what you shouldn't do, in a sense, to to get a good result. So that we left out, because then you can lean on it, and you've also got the instructions there as and when you need. Going into the instructions, same as anything else that I ever do, although these ones are actually done in colour, so you can see exactly what I'm doing and when I'm doing it. So I think that's a really good thing to see. And of course this one, there you go, there's the original. Just added a little bit of colour on and things like that. So that goes through how to use the plates and how to actually create all these sort of different versions. This is using a bit of ink in the background, and of course then using the frame. But of course, in true Tangly style, we don't just stick to what we've got, we actually add extra bits, but that'll come too. And then of course we did this one. This is sort of a follow on, and it actually gives you some different butterflies and some flowers. So using the 2 together is just fabulous. So butterfly wise, we've got 2 different ones. This is one of them. And then of course, let's have a look. Don't think I've got one of the other. I'm not sure. Let's have a look. Oh, there we go. There it is, look. So there's our second butterfly. And you can see that I've used the background to create these, plus giving this one here. And again, you see you've got these lovely little loops. You've got a bit of a frame going around the outside. But as I mentioned, putting both together, so if you take these 2 and mix and match them, you could end up with something that looks a little bit like this. So there you see the larger butterfly there. You've got the 2 different smaller ones. I've used the flowers as a background. You see there, of course, a bit of freehand tangling. And then I've extended the frame to go all the way to create something that's A5 rather than square. So here we go then. How do you do it? Now, how do I do it? Let's put it that way. In the box sets that you got, you did get a piece of foam. You do need this, our embossing mat. You don't need it to use the plates, but it's always nice to have something underneath so you can see what you're doing. So I'm going to start from the beginning. I'm going to start with this one here. See, I wonder if I put that underneath, you're not going to get my light above. There you go. So, all right. So, struggling to hold Parchment down. First thing I would do is, I sort of suggest that you cut it to size. You don't want to cut it too sort of big or small. And of course, we have brought in recently our boards. So if I take the foam away, for example, let's put the board in place. This is the A5 one. There we go. And what you can do to start with is you can use a little bit of low tack tape and just tape it to the side there. Okay. It is also something useful to sort of know. Make sure you've got clean hands before you do this. So no eating crisps or anything like that, because you're going to sort of see it on the parchment. So of course I've actually put these things in separate, so it's not a full image. So you have got to move your parchment around a little bit. But having said that, I'm not too worried about it. We'll see how we go, shall we? So here we are. I've got a bit of parchment paper. Okay. In the box I did, I gave you some clear, what's it, white, sort of translucent almost parchment paper. You could actually use this on both sides. So it doesn't really matter. I'll explain a little bit with colour in a short while. So for this one, what we can do, see, I'm going to just work on this flower. I am going to use a little bit of tape, just tape it in place. You could tape it all round, but I think that's probably enough. So, all right, let's move this in a little bit. Here we go. Okay, so there's the first thing. Now, you've got some ball tools. I did do some ball tools with the box. I am bringing some back. I'm hoping to have them next week or the week after. So hopefully, if you've not got them yet, if you hang on a bit, they'll be there. I'm hoping to get them on my website next week sometime, and they'll be a little bit different. They might have somebody's name across the side of them. So, all right, you've got a set here. They're nice and colourful. I wanted these so I could use my instructions to say which ones to work to. But you notice they've all got a different sized ball on the end. Really, really fine. And I think the largest, if I turn it round, because they're double-ended, you've got this one here. So it's not as though we're going to do, you know, create shaped flowers with these. They're bigger ball tools for that. These are quite small to go in the grooves. So I've suggested when you first start is you use the orange one. You see, it's almost like a pen nib, isn't it? Whereas on this side, you see the ball. It's almost, this is probably our smallest one. So I'm suggesting I use this one, or this one's quite nice as well, the pink smaller one. And again, looking at this one, it's really fine. But what I suggest you do is you try them and you see which works best for you. So it's not that you have to use this one or this one, it's what works best for you. And Ruth does sort of say use the largest that will go in the slot. But, you know, you work it and you have a go and see what works. I'm going to stick with the orange for now. Now, if you were to draw straight on with this, you're trying to go into here straight away, you're going to have a little bit of a problem. If I just sort of do a bit, you're going to find that you hear it? It's a bit scratchy. Your tool doesn't quite want to move and it just feels a little bit uncomfortable. And that's because there's friction between this and this. That's where our tumble dryer sheet comes in. So it's not just to make your box smell nice. A tumble dryer sheet, you can get them from any supermarket, things like that. We did search to find a nicest smelling one we could. So we did try a few boxes. But the idea with this is it's going to help reduce the friction. So if you rub it over the top, like so, see, dead easy. If you put your ball tool back in, what you'll find is it'll feel smoother to work your way around. Okay, so the idea is then that what we're going to do is draw around the lines that are underneath. It's almost like tracing. But what you're going to find is if you try and trace on the top here, it's not really going to do much. There you go. But if you trace here, you can feel it fit in the grooves. So whether you draw all of it or whether you draw a bit of it, really doesn't matter. It depends what the end result is. But the idea is just take your time with it. Sort of start in the middle and work your way outwards and see where it ends up. Okay, so we've got that kind of shape. If I just bring in, let's have a look, sort of that coloured mat, and I'll just sort of flip it over. There you go, you see on that side? You're getting this lovely white effect coming out. You see I've got a little bit there, didn't quite sort of come out. That's okay, I can go back in with one of these. There you go, rub it back in. Let's have a look at that again. Rose, really good question. I haven't used another one since I actually launched this, which was what, we were actually working on this one beginning of July. So it's been a couple months, but, you know, it's swap it out as and when. I mean, this one doesn't smell much anymore, so I'm thinking maybe this month I'm going to get, I'll crack out a new one just because they smell nice, but they will last ages and ages. If you use it and you find that you're getting some resistance, then of course get yourself another one. Or you could always use one and you can cut it in half and just use half of it. You don't need a massive full one. So that's sort of how that works. So what they suggest then is, because we've actually stretched this paper, is you need to sort of let it rest. And yeah, if you don't, you find that it buckles a little bit and you sort of have something that doesn't lie flat. So if you've got the time to do that, by all means, come in and do that. But this is quite a small piece, isn't it? So I would have no problem really going back in and doing something else with this. If you want it a little bit whiter, then leave it 5 or 10 minutes and go back in and draw around it again, and you'll find that it gets a little bit whiter. Let's have a look. If I just sort of go back in. Actually, if I just do one here, if I just do this sort of swirl. There we go. And in we go. So that's once. And let's just try it a couple more times. So if I go back over it. Now, this is pretty okay because you're not really applying much pressure, and it won't really let you because it's going into that groove there. It's a different matter when you're tangling freehand. Okay, so let's have a look at this. All right, so you see I've gone over that quite a few times and see how much brighter it is compared to that. But it does suggest that you leave a little bit of a gap in between doing one and the other. But I say it's quite a small piece, so there you go. All right. So moving on from that, we want to sort of do a little bit more with it. We don't want to be restricted, and the same with my stencils, as to what we draw. So we don't really want to leave it as that, unless you want to, but we don't normally want to do that. So if I come in a little bit bigger, this is where it starts to get interesting. And again, you want to be trying the different ball tools. So if I just use the other end for a minute, let's just rub that off. Let's use the largest ball tool, which is this green one here. And let's just draw a line. Now you notice I'm on my mat now. I'm on my embossing mat. There you go. See how much thicker that is. But if I press on too much, let's have a put too much pressure. You see how it's all bending and curling? We don't really want that. But if I go in with one of the thinner ones and really press on, you see what's going to happen? It's going to go through the paper. We don't want that. So we want sort of very light strokes, just like we would with a fine liner pen. Imagine it's like an 0005 nib and you've got to be careful with it. But trying the different thicknesses of ball tool, it'll give you an indication. It's just like using a pen. So maybe this is more like a size 12 compared to this, which would be like your 08 pen. So that's how they work. So imagine them as pen nibs and they're just drawing with white. But when you want to actually tangle with it, again, think of it as a very, very fine nib. Let's use that ball. And you want to draw nice and relaxed. So even if you want to sort of draw it and come back over it. See, and that was the ball. And now let's try this fine nib and back over. So whatever you're comfortable with. Let's turn that around and have a look at it. You see the difference? It's very fine. It's pretty close. But I do tend to like this one more for drawing. So let's have a look at this one. Kim, yes, we do make these in-house. We manufacture them, yeah. So they take a long time to machine. Hence, we don't bring a huge amount. But they're lovely to do once you've got them. So here you go. So what we can do, we can add another curl if we want, like we've just done. But then we can add an extra line and maybe put some little leaves on. Now we do this, see I'm going over it twice. You sort of get yourself into that routine. And it's just going to give you that slight thickness. Alison, yes, we are going to be bringing some more plates out. We're hoping to do some this month. It's not going to be for this week coming, but it will be hopefully this month at some point. And of course we're just waiting on these embossing tools to come in, which should be this week. And I will be putting just a few of the boxes that I did on the website. I think being that we've added the boards, these ones, the wooden ones, along with the mats for the A5, we'll probably put one of those boards in as well. So you have got everything you need. So you see there, if I turn it round now, we can actually tangle just like we would with a regular pen. So that gives us our sort of our white work. So what else can we do? And again, using this particular design, we can come in and do a little bit of shading. Parchment at the minute, I am going to be getting some in, but I actually am using, or this is my parchment that I put in the boxes, but I am using the Hunky Dory parchment paper. They do it in A4 and they do all different colours. So I'll show you a couple of different colours in a minute and how you use that. So you see I've got to this ball. And what I'm going to do is just ever so gently just flick out. You know, like we would with a pen anyway. You see? And then same sort of thing here. Working outwards. Just again, just be gentle with it. I think this is a real good lesson in being gentle. And you could always come in and build it up and do extras. So if I wanted to, I could come back and I could just add a little line and a bubble. So I'm really tangling like I would with a regular pen, just using a different nib and a different tool. Yes, Lynn, this parchment that was in the box was 150 GSM. And if I just have a look to the parchment here, the Hunky Dory one, a second. Here we go. So there's the Hunky Dory one. It's Parchment Pastels. It is 112 GSM, that one. So you get like the different, let me move out a bit, the different pastel colours, and you can get strong colours, and they do a monochrome as well. But if you, obviously the lighter the weight, the less you want to be putting any pressure on. So it's, yeah, this is quite nice, but this is a lot thicker. You can hear it. Okay, so this you see here, it's given us, there you go, a little bit of a design in there. It's got a little bit of shading. Now, I know if we look at drawing bubbles, let's put one in. There you go, got a bubble. So if we've got a bubble and we just sort of work around it, now this is what Ruth Fletcher says not to do. You see what you're getting in the bottom? Yeah, in the middle, you're getting a little bubble. Don't want that. So we go round, create your bubble. I'm going to come in with a larger tool. I'm sticking with this one for now. And you go up and down, and then across. Okay, and you see there? You've got a completely filled one. So that's a really good hint, and that's on the instructions that she helped write there. Hang on, where does it say? There you go, so it's on there. So once we've got this and we think, right, okay, we can draw with it, we can actually add a few extra tangles on it. It's nice to think, well, what else? So let's bring in one of the smaller butterflies. We'll use the bigger one, but it just takes a little bit longer to draw, of course. Here we go, smaller butterfly. So just as before. Now you notice there's a bit of a gap in between them. This just means that you can then have them as close, or you can angle them a little bit. I just think it's nice to do that. Again, if you need to, you can tape it and move it as you go. There we go. Oh, parchment punch hole edging. I've not seen that, Rose. Yeah, of course. Sorry, yeah, it is. It's when you say it's a different level. It's instead of having a ball tool. Let's just move that out of the way. I know what you mean now, yeah, it came. Instead of having a ball tool, you've got like, it's like a pen that's got like a point on the end, and that punches or pierces holes through. That's not tricky. It's a case of you go through the paper and you create holes where it suggests. That's something that I think we'll expand and we'll move on to. That's it, thanks Leon, that's the name, Pico. And you can get lots of tools that have not just got one like pinprick, they've got 3s and 4s to give you different shaped edges. As I say, we will be going on and doing a bit more of that once we've got the hang of what we're doing here. And again, I'm sure that Ruth will be able to answer anything like that, or she'll come on board again and we'll have a look at that as we go. So here you go. Oh, sorry, Lorraine. This one I've moved because it's a smaller butterfly. I'm just looking now for my instructions. That's this one. There we go. That one's got 2 different butterflies and it's got the flowers with it. And I'll show you the frame in a minute. So here we go. Let's have a look at this then. So the butterfly. What I do, we start in the middle first. So we're going to start with the body, and again working it round. There we are. Go round twice. Okay. Amy, yeah, Pergamon I do it with the holes, but it is sort of a traditional parchment thing. So I'm sure if you looked at other places and stuff, they would do it as well. So you see what I'm doing now? I've moved my tape, and I'm just I'm actually going to put that red on because you can see it a bit better. There we go. There we are. So I'm just going to now move the body to sort of face the wing where I want it, so I can decide which bit I want. Same as my other stencils. Tape it down a bit, and then let's work it out. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to draw around the outside there. There we go. So again, let's go around it a couple of times. You don't have to, once is fine if you want. And I can choose what bits I want to put in here. So yeah, on this paper, which is the plain, the sort of translucent whites, it doesn't matter what side you work on. I have got some coloured, and I'll show you that in a minute, because it does matter what side you work on with those. But this one, no, it doesn't matter. Okay, so here I've gone around all of those shapes. You see how white it is already, and then if I turn it over, look. There it is. There's my little design. Okay. So let's just move it again. I'm going to line it up with this one. Let's have it at that angle. Tape it down a bit. Just use a little bit more. There you go. And then around we go. And along. So it is tracing. And you'll get used to it very quickly with the pressure that you need to put in there. So don't sort of be worried about it. You know, cut a small piece off and try it. That's why I've given you different things you could work on. Yeah. But you see, it does, doesn't it? It does give it a nice finish. We will get to that. Now this one, I'm going to just draw around the outside. I want to show you a few different things you can do with it. Oh, Lorraine, this is the second one that we did. I've got 2 butterflies. I've got this one, which is the large butterfly, and then this is the one that we brought out, I think, the month after. So you're getting a couple of butterflies that sort of work together. See, you've got a couple of butterflies and you've got flowers and a frame. Okay. So let's have a look at this. You see there, look, I've got one where I've actually traced all the outline in. And then I've got one that's given me just the shape there. So if I turn it back over, I don't need that tape on it anymore. There you go. Just tape it to my stand. So again, I'm working on the back. And what I can do is I can come in now and I can add in extra bits and pieces. And again, just get used to the pressure. This is a little bit different when you're doing it on the embossing mat than when you're doing it with the embossing plate underneath. So if you don't have any embossing plates, it doesn't matter. You can still do this. You can still use parchment. It just needs that you'd need that embossing mat underneath and some embossing tools, and you could do it without, which I'll show you a little bit in a minute. Okay, so you see where you get that kind of thing. And again, I might want to come in and add some little lines here and here. And then let's bring up a little bit of an antenna. I've done that before, haven't I? Okay. So there you go. You see you've got that within the space. But this one is giving you the outline that you can then come in and do your own thing. So you don't have to follow what I've done. You don't have to follow those designs. You can choose what you want to do. You see? So you just put some of those in and some this way. Sort of following it round. Now you can see I'm actually used to the pressure here, but you've still got to be a little bit mindful about it and just remind yourself that you're not working with a pen. There you go. So you see you're getting a different design, so it's just like using the stencils and the pen. So what if I want to use my regular pen? Here we go, my regular, what size have I got here? There you go, an I don't want an 08. An 03, not a regular 03. So what we can do is, if I just, with that, we could actually add some inking on the front. So this is how, you would usually use your pen, and I'm working on the front of the parchment there. You see? So you could also turn it round, and if I add in a little bit here and bring some bubbles in, so you could draw on the back. There you go. So you notice the difference. If I then turn it round, it's just slightly more subtle than actually drawing on the front there. So you've got the two options. But you can bring in, I've got a grey pen here. So again, if I wanted to, let's bring something in sort of down here. Let's come in with one of those. So again, even more subtle on the front there, where you can add something if you want to. You see how that looks kind of nice. But then again, if you want to, you can work on the back. So let's put some bubbles in. So you don't have to stick with the ball tools. You can come in and you can draw straight on it if you want to. Let's have a look at that. You see, so it's a little bit more subtle. So you can get different variations, whether you draw on the front or whether you draw on the back. You see? You can also come in with a white gel pen if you want to. And let's, for example, let's just get it to work for a start. There you go. You can fill things in and you can use your white. It doesn't, you know what white pens are like. They always don't want to work, do they? So again, let's just bring in a couple of waves. No, it doesn't want to work. But there you go. It's thinking about it. Okay, let's have a look at one of my gel pens here. Let's try one of those. So there we go, we've got a gold. So we could bring in gel pens. There you go, once you get it going, see? You see you can sort of create different things on there. And of course you can use that on the back as well. I'll turn that over in a minute when it dries. It does take just a little bit longer for it to dry. But you see what you are getting, something a little bit different there. Yeah. Oh, Louise, yeah, a mandala, something like that would look lovely, wouldn't it? So many things that you can start to think about. So you see we can add little bits of colour or gems and things. See, that's quite happy now. Look, you see it's getting, yeah. Yeah, the white does work. It just needs to sort of give it a go. But again, you can do it on the back. So, yeah, which then when you look on the front, you're getting that sort of slightly more subtle approach. Maybe I've been a bit fine there, but it comes in, you see, you get a little bit there. So there's a few things there you can do. Of course, you can add colour. So colour-wise, regular pencil. And again, you see I've still got that mat underneath me. It's colour on the top if you want it to be noticeable. And now again, it does work really nice. Let's just do a little bit here. You can still blend it just like you would with a regular pencil. Now, if you see it's on the top there, you're going to lose a little bit of that whiteness, but you know, it depends what look you're after. You see, you get some really vivid colours there. And then if we turn it round, then we can do it on the back as well. Now, the difference with doing it on the back is, let's do it this way, a couple of colours there. See, I'm not being particularly neat here, and I am getting some colour on there. So I'll use the same colours that we just did. There we go. You can see you've still got your white lines. It's a slightly more subtle colour. So it depends sort of what look you're after, and it's quite nice to mix the two together. So do a little bit on the top and then a little bit in the bottom. Now, Rose, you can use a sparkle glitter pen, but you've got to remember, I don't know if I've got one here, hang on a second, it's water-based. So Parchment doesn't particularly like water. You know, I've got so many pens and things, I can't find one. Oh, no, that's a water brush. So you've just got to be careful that you don't let too much wetness get onto it. So I had one of those the other day. I was using it. Can't imagine where it's gone now. But yes, you can. Just be careful with how much water you let go on the paper, because it will crinkle. Okay. So that's a couple of little options. Another option, and a little bit of a sneak peek here, is this. What is this, you might ask? There we go. And the nice thing about these is, let's colour a bit of this in here. So I'm on the back at the minute. You see? And then you can use your tortillon to actually blend them out. Okay. Now, these are coming on Thursday. But the nice thing about it, look. Yeah. So you see that's on that side. So if I was to use it on the front, a second, let's do a couple on the front. Let's do that one as well. And again, blend it out a bit. You see, so you're getting slightly stronger feel on the front than you are on the back. So that's quite nice as well, isn't it? And again, look, you see, it's sort of in there now. So yeah, we've got a bit of a mishmash of a butterfly there, but that works quite nicely, doesn't it? So okay, a couple of different colours. Let's have a look at these. So this is a pastel coloured Parchment. This is it's like a sepia actually. I know you can't quite see it so much on the embossing. This is a darker, this is a purple. So let's have a look what else. There's a few other colours lying around. What we can have a look at this. Now, when you're looking at coloured Parchment, if you look at this one, it's really dark, got a bit of a sheen. And here, oh yeah, Linda, good point. Yeah, using gel pens. Yeah, Linda's point's good there. Yeah, on a hard surface rather than that. And it's just I've not got any room left on my desk. Now, you see this side, it's a lot lighter and not perhaps as shiny. Let's have a look at the two together. You can see the difference. Now, as much as you think this is going to be the side that you draw on, Louise, on the pastels, I haven't used spray and shine, and look, it's not moving. Yeah. So So yeah, you can see the difference. So as much as you think, oh, I want to draw on this side, don't draw on this side. And if in doubt, you're not sure, the best thing to do is take a corner and try it on one corner. So let's just have a look at that. And then try it this way. And that, you see, that's not really come up. You've not seen much there. So there you have. So this is going to be the front. So what you would do with pencil is you just mark it as the front or the right side. And then you know that when you're drawing, you're going to be drawing on the back and it's going to come through. Pam, colour-wise, I think with the honky-dory ones, I think there's 5 pastels. There's 5 of the darker colours. So I know we've got, I've got a bit of green out somewhere. Let's have a look. And here we go. So here's the green. Oh, it was. There's like the green pastel. And there's the dark green. So you get in pastels, you can get the stronger colours. You can get a monochrome pack as well. So this is in the monochrome pack. It's really nice, like a sepia almost. And then they do a monochrome as well. So there's so many different colours. But I've got a little sample here Leslie did actually on the pastel green. So if I just bring in that piece of paper underneath. This is the, there you go, look at that one there. So she actually traced over the stamp, the sentiment stamp there. But of course you draw it, so you trace it on the front so it's backwards and then you do it like that. And then she's added a little bit of green pencil on the insides there. Oh, sorry Pam, yeah, the new pencils, set of 12. And that's all I'm saying. So okay. The one thing with these is you've got to be careful because you can't really see through so much. You can sort of, but you can see it's a little bit more difficult. So make sure that you've got something behind that you can actually see part of it. And that's really important because, of course, if you can't see it, you don't really want to be tracing it, do you? So here we go. Let's have a look at doing this little border. I'm just going to do a little section of it. So this is my lighter side. This is the side it's going to come through on. And this is the side that I'm going to draw on. So this is the darker bit. So again, using the same format, work that on. Now, when you're doing this frame, it's been machined in such a way that you have to do it in sections. Yes, Glennis, a light box is brilliant. If you've got one and you can put the plate on top of the light box, that would sort it for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work around the loops first. Okay. Just take your time with it because it's quite a large piece. And then, of course, I'm going to do the loops on this side as well. All right. Let's go around that again. And then do the loops. Okay. Don't sort of try and do them all in one. They are actually been machined, so there's a slight little gap in between the two. So let's have a look at this. Okay. Oh, you see, so I've missed one there. Yeah. You see what's sort of happening. I can put that back in. Let's just line that up again. It's me getting all eager. You can see that one I've not done there. A bit in there. And again, this shows that if you're out the grooves, you're not going to have a problem with your, your paper because it's not going to mark it. There you go. Okay, so you see you're getting that lovely little loop there. So with this one, what you can actually do if you want is you can lift this and extend it. So as long as you line it up with the loops, hang on a second. There you go, see, line it up with the loops. You can keep going and extend it. So you can actually have whatever size you want in terms of this particular frame. So that works really well, doesn't it? And again, if you want to, you can actually bring in, and I know, is it Yulin that did this? Is you used one of the flowers. So there you go, sort of a loop. Let's just do one. Line up one of the flowers. So let's actually just do a little bit of that. So you've got a couple of those. And then line it up there. And then use the flowers. There you go. And then you could do the next one. So you're going to get like a row of flowers going around the outside. There you go. Oh, I know, Wendy, I know it's a little, but it depends then what you put behind it. So if you put something behind it, you're getting that stronger colour coming through. I mean, if I was to do it this way, and this is just the way parchment is, so it's, see, I can't really see much of that at all anyway, hence the light box. Well, you know, you're not really getting the same thing. It's sort of through there, but then look, you're not really getting the same thing on it. And again, if that's a look you're going for, you know, that's fine too, but you're not getting the white that you would get there. See, you're just getting an impression. But yeah, it depends what you want to do. I mean, I say there are no rules, so if that's what you wanted to sort of do rather than that, that's fine, whatever you want to do. So let's put this on here then, and let's just bring in that white pen again. See if I can get my white pen to work. Oh, that's better. Yeah, you go. Thank you for that. So again, you know, you could come in if you want to and you didn't want to emboss the detail. You could come in and add with your pen. See that? Doesn't want to play tonight, this white pen. Let's bring in my gold. You see there, you're getting your gold coming on it. You see, so you can, you know, you can play and do all sorts of things in that sense. So it's just giving you extra options, isn't it? You can do this on paper. That's what we usually do, but doing it here just gives it a little bit of a difference. And of course, you could also ink the front or the back. I tend to ink the back. And that's where you can get these lovely sort of backgrounds. So here we go, like looking at this one here. See, I've got these different colours. So if I've actually got, let me see if I've actually got my, my bag is completely messed up. You know, it's one of those things that don't always tidy up. Let's have a look. There's some inks here. Okay. So if I just bring in the so let's have a look at a bit of inking. So where's my butterfly I did earlier? There it is. There's my butterfly. Okay. I'll let it just sort of focus itself. So okay, what am I going to do with this? Now again, everybody inks differently. So where's my little extra bits? 1 second. There we go. So I like to use these just because it's got a bit of a handle, and I can swap these out depending on what colour I use. So here's my ink pad, and let's have a look. A little bit of ink in there. Again, use it on a glass mat, but I haven't got that on my desk at the minute. And all I'm going to do is swish it round. Now the nice thing with this is you don't really have to think so much about blending. So if I was to put that one down, I'm just going to swap out. And let's go for, let's have a look. Got a purpley one. And a bit of a blue ink there. That'll do fine. See, and then swish around. See, I'm not completely trying to blend it fully. I'm just going around with a bit of ink and not really being so fussy. Do have to let it dry just a little bit, maybe. Oh, I haven't got much blue on there at all, have I? Let's try a bit purple. That's better. See, you don't have to be so picky about how you're doing. And you, oh no, let's find that paper again. There you go. So you see, you can start to get these lovely subtle backgrounds in you get this lovely white at the front, and it's not going to affect your colouring. See where I've got my colours here? It doesn't really affect those because they're already in. It's just going to ink over the surface. So that's sort of how it works. And of course, if you think, well, okay, a little bit heavy, let's just give it a go. So let's bring in a little piece here. Never get rid of your scraps because they're great for practice. So, all right, a little bit of tape. Let's have a go at one of these flowers. There we go. All right, rubbing it. There you are. So I'm rather than come in with this point, because you see it's got a little bit of a point, let's use one of the balls. And on the pink one, I'll find it on my desk. Here we go. It's slightly, well, they're very similar, but it's slightly smaller. So let's give that one a go. And I'm going to start within here. So let's go around it a few times. So I'm not being particularly easy with it there. And then let's go over the top of these. Now, because it's going in these grooves, there's only so far down I can go. And you see, if I come out of it, you see, it's not marking this. It's only going to mark in these grooves. Yeah. So, of course, if we take our time, follow it round, and then do that a few times, it'll build up. So rather than going in and really pressing, which we can, it sort of works its way out. There we go. Let's have a look at that. You see? So if we want something in the middle and you think, oh, I'm not so sure about this, I don't want to, you know, why not put each one? It's just going to take that tape off a minute. You know, so use the stencil for, or the board for different things. So you can put that loop in there. And turn it round. And put that loop in. And turn it round. And that loop in. So, you know, use different parts of it, just like you use the regular stencils. Different parts. There we go. Have a look at that. Wendy, yeah, you can get oil pastels in a crayony shape. They're not, pastels are actually quite difficult to get in any form at the minute, pencils and things like that. So I've been very lucky to get what I've got. But yeah, and if not, they can be, you can use them in different ways. I haven't got time to sort of use the video for colour and such this evening, but we will get round to using them, so bear with me with that. You see there, then you've just got to ink a little bit in and job done. If you find that you think, oh, okay, I want to draw on that, then come in with this, and instead of holding your tool, hang on a second, here, hold it a bit further back, and the further back you go, the less pressure you can actually put on that paper. So drawing becomes a little bit different because you've actually got to sort of do it from a distance, but it's a real good exercise to help you work on your pressure. See? So moving away from the plates, and if you've got stencils, as we have, I'm sure, quite a collection. So if I look at this one, for example, and you think, all right, I want to have a go at this in parchment. Not so bad at all. Let's bring a piece in. So I've got a bit here I've been playing with. Now what I do, I know, see I've got this, it's the front. So again, if you need to, you can mark front. And what I want to do is, I'm going to draw, let's do it this way, on my little bird here. So just as we normally would, I'm going to draw my bird in. So there's the body. And then there's the head. There's the wing, so here's our front wing. Just doing a rough version, okay, you see where that works. And there's that wing. Okay, so we've got that. We sort of all will get to grips with that. We know that shape, I'm sure, by now. So if I turn it around, see, I've just got these little lines. Let's bring that ball back in. And okay, so I'm going to bring in the bird's beak. And then around the head. And then around the head, sort of the bit of the body here. And then the wings. As we know, what we're going to do here is we're going to create a curve here. And a curve here. Okay, which is exactly the same as what's in the instructions. So then coming up, and again we'd usually do this with a pen, but we're just using a different tool, so it's exactly the same process, but just coming in and using the ball tool instead of the pen. There you go, working my way around. And then the next wing. So again, coming back up, same process. Again, follow that round. Let's give it a bit of an eye. And then of course, I haven't got much space there, but again, we start to work freehand. So again, if the plates are not something you want, if you don't really need to do that, you could use the stencils you've already got, and you can still create your work in this way. So again, let's put a little flower in there. And again, it's just getting used to that pressure, which does work quite quickly when you get used to it. There you go. So let's just turn that over. Let's have a look at it. Okay, so you still got the pencil there, but the beauty of doing pencil on the front is you can rub it out. There we go. So you end up with your white outlines, there you go, of your bird. And then of course you can come in and colour it however you like. Let's bring a little bit of that blue in. You could add more tangles to it. So this, once you've drawn it, you'd come in and you'd do the same sort of thing that you would with your it's a graphite one, with anything else, and start to add that bit of colour in. Now of course, if you wanted to, you don't have to use colour. You can still shade it, and you could use your monochrome. Look at that. So if I go on the back, you can add some pencil on the back. Now you want to add a little bit less than you normally would if you're using a regular tile, because it does move a little bit. And just gently soften it off. So it's a case of you've got to experiment a little bit to find out what you like, whether you like the subtlety on the back, whether you like colour or no colour. You see, you've got that lovely subtle thing there. Now I'm going to bring one in I've been working on. I haven't got any colour on it yet, but I wanted to sort of show you this one as a final thing. So, okay, what have I done with this one? There's my bird, of course. I've used inspiration here from one of the plates where, you know, I've done my freehand swirls. I've used the flowers. Have I? Use the flowers. Have I drawn those? Maybe I've drawn those. I've taken inspiration from here. You see, this sort of started out as the looks like the circular frame, doesn't it? But it isn't. I actually drew a rectangle in there, just as you've got. Let's have a look on the instructions. So here we go. There's this stencil. See, I drew the frame in pencil on the front, and then I actually filled in on the back and then rubbed it out. And then, of course, adding all these extra little tangles as we go. You can work, and it's just lovely to see, isn't it? So again, here, I actually used, you know, when you get, I don't know if I've got my stamps here. My whole place is in chaos, absolute chaos. But if I show you, for example, here we go. If you've got these are sort of instead of actually tracing it this way, this is the front. So what you'd actually do is trace. Let's just do the letter I. Let's do see, they're symmetrical, so you won't notice really, but just so you get the idea. Okay, so I've done that, trace that. And then if I move that out of the way for a minute. Okay. Oh, Glenys, come on, you've got this. So here we go. Start with something like this to sort of go with. And again, I'm going to come in with that pointed tool. And in we go with it. Draw around it. You see? So it's just like tracing, just like anything else. And at the moment you just see the pencil, but let's do a bit of writing. Let's just sort of go in with, just as you would normally. Here we are. Okay, so if I turn it round, yeah, you can use a white pencil as well. It's whatever you've got to hand, whatever sort of works. Now, again, if you've got a light box, this I suppose would work a bit better because you'll see the words a bit easier, but there you go. Okay, so just followed the lines. I've not thought about it as them being letters. I've just sort of followed it as it's a shape. There we go. And again, if I just rub out the pencil, let's do that across both. There you go. All right. There's those sort of rough letters, but there you go. So you can still do that. It's just getting used to doing it backwards, and that's exactly how I've done these. Again, very, very small and fine there. So my C, I might go in and do a little bit more on my C. Where was it? It's there. So it's just about a bit of practice, you know, and working out there is that C there. See, I'd probably go back in. I'll do all that line again in a minute. But that's just something to work on, isn't it? So once I've done this, then it's a case of colour it, do whatever you want to do with it. Just sort of a last point, really, that you've got to remember that whatever you try and stick this to, it's a little bit trickier than paper because you'll see it. So if I wanted to, for example, put this on here, I'd trim it round and then I'd ink it and I'd find some areas. So say I'd coloured these areas in with pencil, or I'd coloured the middles in. I was going to put gems on. What you're able to do is you put a little bit of glue on the back, not too wet, and remember, because you don't like it too wet, a little bit of glue on the back, and that's where I'd stick my parchment down in these places here, and then a little bit in each corner, and then that will help to sort of keep it flat there. So you let that dry, and then you're not going to see the bits that you've glued because you've got colour over the top of them. That's only if you've coloured over the top, of course. But then in your corners, and this brings me back to what we did in the beginning, is you use your photo corners. So there is glue behind this, holding this in place, but you can't see it because the photo corners hold it. And then I will have glued here under the body. And again, photo corner either side. I've done some on this part of the body and this part. And you see here, just little drops where I've put colour. That's where I'd store my glue. So working with that in mind, if you've got a little bit more glue, you could use the wider corners. But so many things you can do with it. And the reason we actually brought this to you is that we wanted to sort of expand the paper a little bit and just give you something a little bit different, a little bit, you know, of a change. If you think, oh, I've done this all weekend and I want to do something a bit different, actually working on parchment is just giving you a little bit of something there. So yeah, of course, Lorraine, no, absolutely not. Do you know what? You go and do what you want to do with it. The plates are brilliant to start with. They really are, and they give you a lot of areas to work to. So these frames are brilliant, and you know, having the different butterflies. Don't think you've got to do exactly as I've done. Just do a bit of it, or just draw the outline and then do what you want in the middle. And of course, as you know, these, you can do these, cut them out afterwards, and then, you know, make them up as slightly more 3D like this. So I've got, this is the background, and see these, they've been stuck on just in the middle there, cut out. So be careful as you're cutting it. It takes a bit of practice, but that works. And then your butterflies, of course, you want your wings opening out, and they're just so different, and they're not really, you know, old-fashioned as such, but there we go. So okay, I hope I've answered some of your questions. I hope I've put some of your worries at ease. Here's a flower, look, I haven't put on anything yet. I've mixed it together, all three, look. And maybe you'll have a go, even if it's not with the boards. Maybe you'll actually get a stencil and a bit of parchment paper and actually try it. So I'd love to see what you do, and of course, any questions, please ask. And if you actually, anything really specific, if you sort of tag Ruth Fletcher in on it as well, I'm sure she'll come back to you, and she's our little expert, so she'll be able to help. But yeah, please don't think there are rules. Just try things, see what works for you, and have a little bit of fun with it. And I think that's what it's all about. Just have a bit of fun. So yeah, as I say, what I'm going to do, as soon as the new tools come in, I'll have them on the website ready. There'll be a few boxes on the website. I'll actually do the parchment box, but I say, as well as adding everything in you need, I'll make sure that that A5 wooden board goes in as well. So that's sort of coming. And okay, if I say any more questions, please just ask, just post them and ask. And of course, all being well, I will see you for the live as usual Tuesday at 2 o'clock. So yeah, thank you, Kim. Thank you, Alison and Glenys, everybody else. And yeah, anything that you need to know, it's lovely. Thank you for watching. And hopefully, as I say, I've put your mind at rest, and you're not going to be as worried about trying it. So have a bit of fun with it. And yeah, I'll see you all being well again on Tuesday. Oh, Wendy, December, excellent. And yeah. All right, yeah, new plates, Lorraine. The new plates are actually, all the plates I've used here tonight are on the website. You've got two sets, excuse me. You've got the original ones, which was the, oh, hang on, this one, the butterfly, which also includes the flower, and it also includes the frame. That one's on there. And you've also got this one, which is, so that's single plates, but you've got the two butterflies, all the flowers, and that frame. So yeah, they're on there, but yeah, we'll keep adding as we go. So thanks, everybody. And I'm off to have my tea and finish my gin. So, okay, see you soon. Bye.